Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. It's a special early Wednesday episode, earlier than usual anyways. We're still going to be doing our Dynamite recap tonight because AEW and its current state of flux, stemming from the CM Punk Media Scrum Gate 2022 and the ensuing backstage brawl, is all the rage these days. So we've got updates on the status of the majority of the participants in said backstage brawl, namely the Elite and a couple others. We're still waiting on some info about CM Punk, but Larson, just what's the latest? What's going on?
So there's a lot here. So after the details of that backstage Donnybrook involving Punk.
Great word.
Thank you. Punk, Ace Steel, and the Elite got out. A lot of speculation and rumors started spreading across wrestling social media about what kind of punishment everyone involved could face. You know, like would the Elite get suspended? There was a lot of talk on Twitter after we did our Raw recap yesterday about CM Punk maybe being fired.
Yeah.
Same with Ace Steel. So yesterday afternoon, there were some reports that seemed to indicate that some sort of decision either had been made or would be forthcoming. PW Torches Wade Keller tweeted, quote, "I'll add to the cryptic comments about lots of indications of pending, perhaps imminent major developments regarding AEW." Fightful Sean Ross Sapp tweeted, quote, "Right now, AEW talent have not been told anything official. Almost all I've spoken to believe CM Punk will have to go or make major amends to remain with the company. A lot of the talent haven't arrived where Dynamite broadcasting from yet, but the heat on Punk is unreal." So following those tweets, Dave Meltzer reported that there would be suspensions following the fight and that everyone who was part of it, Punk, Steel, the Elite, as well as Pat Buck, would not be in attendance at tonight's Dynamite. And due to the talent missing the show, Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho, who weren't originally scheduled to be on Dynamite tonight, will be on Dynamite tonight.
Can we just pause real quick? I just want to illustrate, say what you will about Chris Jericho. That dude is all reliable.
And Mox.
Every time, and Mox, absolutely. Every time we think that Jericho, he's going to take a couple months off, go tour, he manages a way to, like, maybe there's a week here, maybe there's a week there, but he'll go on tour right back there on Wednesday and then doing commentary on Rampage, which is usually filmed the same night. I get that. But still, that dude is all in, all reliable. Mox also all reliable. So continue on.
So this morning, Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso reported that, quote, "Per sources, an external third-party investigation will be conducted." He continues. "Punishment for that backstage fight," Sports Illustrated has learned, will include suspensions for every person involved. The list of those receiving suspensions includes Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Michael Nakazawa, and Brandon Cutler. Multiple sources have shared that Punk and Ace Steel will either be among those suspended or will no longer be with the company by the end of Wednesday. That's today. Punk met with AEW owner Tony Khan on Tuesday, so the two had an opportunity to discuss how that exit could be handled.
Now, that's assuming that exit is a thing. Yes. It's basically, because when I first read that, I was like, oh, they're leaning towards? It was like, no, they met to discuss the next steps is what I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of that is with Punk being champion and them just having to do the tournament interim champion thing.
Yeah.
If they were trying to work out, this is speculation.
Sure.
As clearly evident for those watching Going In Raw, we have no inside sources on anything.
No.
This is pure speculation. If part of that conversation is, all right, you're champ, how are we going to get the title off you without having to do another tournament type deal?
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Given the volatility of this situation and Punk's obviously strong-headed way of feeling about all this stuff. I mean, he is obviously he obviously feels very strongly about the way he feels. I wonder if it's all just a script. I wonder if that would even be broached, or if this is all just contractual, like, okay, this is how much your contract is for. I don't know because like I just in my mind the severity of this goes so far beyond how are we gonna get this title off you when clearly I know I wonder if that would even could be even a concern,
if they hadn't already gone through Punk getting injured, the tournament to crown the interim champion, all that.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And I'm not saying it's a primary concern.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But you think they set up the storyline for Punk at MJF.
Yeah.
And the scrum and now the fight has taken so much of the spotlight off MJF's return.
Yeah.
Which they wanted to be a huge deal, that maybe to kind of salvage that story.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, Punk, can you here's the deal. You don't have to show up to TV until Grand Slam. You show up, drop the belt to MJF, you can go on your way.
Given that Tony Khan now has experience with managing somebody that you're in dicey contract negotiations with, let alone an exit negotiation, and how he had to deal with MJF at Double or Nothing, let's just get this guy out there. I don't know if he'd have the nerve to be like, to have to deal with, is Punk even going to show up to Grand Slam? I don't know, man. Look, it's we can speculate all day, and that's part of our job. That is part of our job to try to get as much info we can and speculate. And I wonder, it could very well be, hey, how do we resolve this story? Or I wonder if it's just, hey, man, you really fucked up. You can't be around. I don't know. I don't know, but it'll be interesting when all is said and done, if it's ever revealed what was said, how this conversation went down. And I mean, I guess we'll get some indication as to what happens over the next couple of weeks. Certainly by the end of tonight, we'll have some sort of idea as to what's going to happen. I have no doubt. I would imagine MJF is probably going to open the show, or
I would think so, yeah.
Maybe he'll do the main event segment, and we'll get a hot match. I know there's like that Ring of Honor Pure Rules, a Pure title match that's supposed to be tonight. That's going to be a hell of a match. That's not a terrible way to open a show.
And that's in Daniel Garcia's hometown too.
Might be a great way to rev that crowd up and sort of get their minds off of the whole world title situation.
It could be. Sean Ross Sapp then tweeted, suspensions almost all around Kenny, Young Bucks, Cutler, Pat Buck, Nakazawa, Daniels. CM Punk's situation, it still isn't clear. Ace Steel off the road per AEW sources and Sports Illustrated. Meltzer also tweeted, everyone involved in the brawl is now officially suspended, and again confirms Ace Steel's off the road, and the Punk situation should be clear soon. It's all pending the completion of the investigation. So I know Barrasso said by the end of tonight things should become more clear, but that doesn't seem like a whole lot of time for an investigation.
I didn't think that it would take the board of directors investigation as little time as it seemingly did to dig up those NDAs. I mean, I felt the same way. I was like, oh, this will take a month. But I wonder if it's just a matter of, hey, let's interview the participants involved.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have
a large portion of it, yeah.
We have all the info. Is there any security tape? No. Okay. Well, here it is, Tony Khan. Yeah, I was kind of surprised, too, in terms of the investigation aspect of things. But yeah, we're gonna find out one way or the other. This was kind of interesting. Fightful Select got an account of the brawl from sources close to CM Punk and Ace Steel, so we now have their side of the story in a certain way. And according to them, Punk returned to his locker room following the media scrum. The Young Bucks started banging on his door. Hey, Kick, what are you doing? And then Punk wasn't answering. He was like, shh, I'm not here. And then the Bucks allegedly
tell him I'm not here. Larry, tell him I'm not here.
Larry, tell him. Ruh, ruh. And then the Bucks allegedly super kicked the door down. Super kick party. Ace Steel's wife was in the room, which Steel told people, quote, set him off and made him go ballistic, throwing chairs and ended up biting somebody. Kenny Omega. In an effort to protect her. Get away from my wife. I'm going to throw a chair at you and gnaw on your arm. Is what he said. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to dramatize this a little bit, man. Fightful Select also addressed rumors that Punk was injured in the melee, reporting that Punk actually suffered a triceps injury while performing a suicide dive during his match at All Out. Once again, calling into question why you'd put your title on a guy who seemingly gets injured in every match he's in. So, yeah, that's a whole different decision. I don't think that's going to be a problem now.
Yeah, it's seeming like at the minimum, at least short term, that's not going to be a problem, and maybe not going to be a problem. Kind of full stop.
Probably, yeah. So what's your take on
what's
now?
The old adage? What's the old adage? There's
three sides to every story.
Three sides of truth. One side, the other side, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth.
And then there's the truth. Yeah, it's funny. I do appreciate that this Punk Steel account is really doing its damnedest to put the onus on the Young Bucks, and giving proper justification.
Well, and it's all based on one detail: they kicked the door down.
They kicked the door down, which I don't know. I look. This isn't like a fucking saloon in the 1880s. I'm not sure how easy it is to kick those. Like even like apartments have doors that are pretty damn sturdy these days.
Yeah,
I just don't know how well this could be kicked down.
I mean, this just brings up a point that I meant to mention yesterday, and I guess I did that. I mentioned yesterday that Ace Steel, as a producer for AEW, had a responsibility as an employee of the company to de-escalate the situation. I didn't mention the same applies to Kenny and the Young Bucks. Not only are they employees of the company, they're executives. I understand the desire they probably had to confront Punk after what he said. I get that.
Well, there's two things, dude. Number one, we did bring that up. We said they probably should have chilled the fuck out too.
Yeah,
because they're EVPs.
Yeah,
we said that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they shouldn't be going around super kicking doors in.
Yesterday was a long time ago. I don't remember saying it. So.
No, there's a lot going on. No, we absolutely brought that up. They probably should have chilled the fuck out if this was a normal working environment. And look, there is a difference. It's like, as much as there shouldn't be a difference, clearly, I think if you ask any wrestler, there's a difference when it comes to a wrestling environment and, like, I don't know, a computer programming environment.
And basically any other working environment.
And maybe there shouldn't be. Maybe there absolutely shouldn't be. Maybe we're getting closer to the point where, the EVPs of a company would act more like EVPs of like of a wrestling company, would act more like EVPs of a normal company. But, these guys entrust each other, with their lives to entertain people in the middle of a ring. There's adrenaline at play. There's politics at play. There are, there's celebrity dynamics at play. That's a lot different. And I can understand the human condition, the human brain is just not wired to deal with that situation in the same way as, like, if you're in a normal office situation. It's just, I don't know if it's even possible to do that, to be sort of calm in a situation where all those different dynamics are at play.
That's what I'm saying.
When
I understand.
People say that, I don't know if it's realistic, but
I understand. I
should
understand
it be? Sure.
I understand the initial reaction would be, we have to confront him. I totally understand that from a human perspective. I 1,000% understand that.
Yeah.
But in terms of them being executives and behaving in such a manner, in any other professional environment, that would be frowned upon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's totally within reason that they're suspended for that behavior.
And it's one of the dangers you get into going back 3 years when you make some of the on-screen performers, guys who are going to be making decisions that will affect that, where the giving them the benefit of the doubt and assuming that they're not going to just simply be putting themselves over, which they did have a problem putting themselves over, or not putting themselves over in that first year. And people are like, well, you're the elite. That's why we're here. Okay, well, now we need to. And I wonder if that's, people obviously have been bringing up Cody Rhodes a lot, but even he had said, yeah, management really wasn't my thing. I'm paraphrasing there. But and I wonder if one of those things was simply like, okay, well, I wrote myself out of the title decision because I'm the EVP. I can do that. Should I have done that? I'm kind of a draw. Maybe I shouldn't have. So I'm going to try to make you get into really dangerous territory when you give that kind of power. But then I don't know if there was any other way for Tony Khan to have brought those guys on if they didn't have the ability to build, to help build the company with that title.
I think also with them having those titles, it gave Tony Khan legitimacy to wrestling fans as well, as opposed to here's some guy that most people aren't really knowledgeable of, apart from he's the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars here in the States. Maybe in the United Kingdom they know him from running Fulham over there. But by and large, wrestling fans probably didn't know who Tony Khan was.
Yeah.
And if they'd said, "Oh, we're starting a wrestling company with Tony Khan," I think people would be like, "Okay, that's cool." Oh, and we're like a major part of it. We're all executives, and we're gonna all have a say. Blah blah blah. Be like, "Oh, okay, we like the elite. And we like being the elite. We trust you guys from a creative standpoint."
Yeah.
No,
I
might be
know.
part of it too.
No, there's pros and cons to it, and then what we've seen is just the extreme con of it.
Yeah.
know, and I don't think anybody could have anticipated this happening. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe people should have. Maybe Tony Khan should have. Maybe the elite should have. When CM Punk originally spouted off about Hangman Page, at that point they should have all gotten a room together as EVPs, not just Tony Khan wandering in there. Everybody wandering in the Kenny and the Bucks. Hey, we're part of the not ownership, but we are the executive vice presidents of this company. We all need to de-escalate this situation now, make sure it's resolved, and make sure that anything that he has to say, maybe we put out, maybe he finds a different way to talk about that to the press. I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of things that probably could have been done different to prevent getting to this point. Yeah, it seems like if
communication was better, maybe you could have avoided a lot of this situation.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a live watch along of Dynamite tonight. See how all this unfolds. See if what the situation will look like. If Tony Khan's gonna make an appearance, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're gonna check it out together, and then we're gonna do a recap afterwards. That's when Dynamite starts on the East Coast feed. We've got it over here on the West Coast as well. So
it'll be 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Larson, more pro athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health these days, and we've seen several top stars take time away to tend to their own mental well-being. But pro athletes aren't the only ones who need to take care of their mental health. Therapy is the best way for anybody to stay in peak mental shape.
Yeah, there was a point in my life where I was dealing with severe anxiety, and I realized I needed to go to therapy. And so I can tell you firsthand that it's not easy finding the right person to talk to. But once I found a therapist I felt comfortable with, I started getting the tools I needed to deal with my anxiety.
And if you're thinking of trying therapy, BetterHelp is a fantastic option. It's convenient, accessible, and entirely online. All you got to do to get connected with a therapist is fill out a quick survey, and you can switch therapists at any time.
So when you're ready to feel the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And let's get a word in from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. So, Larson.
Yeah.
We've never really talked about this before. I'm not sure if you watch porn.
Oh, my gosh, Steve.
Yeah, but in case you do, or you have friends that do, you might want to pay attention. You see, everything going on in the world, governments have increased their surveillance, and they're using your devices to track your location, movements, and in some places, your internet activity. You don't want to be caught with your pants down, literally, when you're surfing the web. And one of the best ways to keep your online browsing activity private is by using ExpressVPN.
Without ExpressVPN, you're basically giving people a free license to look over your shoulder to see whatever you're looking at online. You'd think that using incognito mode would protect you, but you're wrong. Your internet provider can still see every site you visit, and if you use shared Wi-Fi, your network admin can see it all too.
Oh my goodness, they want to know what you're looking at, Larson. That's why I use ExpressVPN whenever I go online, because ExpressVPN reroutes my internet connection through a secure encrypted server so I can surf the web without anyone snooping into Steve's business.
So protect your privacy today and get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Visit expressvpn.com/GIR. That's expressvpn.com/GIR for 3 months free with the 1-year package. expressvpn.com/GIR to learn more.
I'm using it on my phone right now. Yeah. Hey. And before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings. Hey, Larson.
Yes, Steve?
Get excited. The first Sunday of the NFL is upon us. And Yeah, that's what I said too. Yeah. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving new customers an offer that is can't miss to celebrate the return of the NFL. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly.
And if that wasn't great already, and it is great, there's more. As an added bonus for week 1, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. And it's super simple. Bet on any NFL team to win. And if your team leads by 10 points, 10, at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses.
And if the return to the NFL isn't enough for you, there's a huge fight happening in Vegas this Saturday for all the MMA fans out there. I see Nate Diaz is going to be in action on that card.
Yeah, I saw that too. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code RAW to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet this Sunday.
That's code RAW, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. One guy who probably will not be showing up, Malachi Black. Last week, Raj Giri reported that Malachi Black had asked for his release from AEW, but it was turned down. After the House of Black versus Miro, Sting, and Darby Allin match at All Out, Malachi seemed to say goodbye to AEW, blowing a kiss to the crowd and taking a bow. That didn't happen on camera. A lot of fan cameras picked that up, though. Today, Fightful Select reports that several AEW talents have told them that Malachi is done with the company and was granted a, quote, highly conditional release. According to Fightful, Tony Khan was hoping to have Malachi in AEW for years to come, and although there were conversations to try to save the working relationship, it was decided that if Black wanted out, they should probably allow it. This is a really interesting situation, not just specifically for Malachi Black, but for perhaps how AEW is going to treat releases going forward. Clearly, this would be a situation. I think either Meltzer or Sean Ross Sapp confirmed this on Twitter. I think it was Sean confirmed this on Twitter, that the obvious condition would be no WWE. Yeah. Maybe that would extend to New Japan as well. I'm not sure.
Maybe, but I would assume that'd be no WWE or New Japan for a period of time, not just forever.
In perpetuity. I would imagine it would be, you would think maybe for the length of his contract, but I don't know.
Apparently have 4 more years left on it.
A long time left on that contract. On one hand, on the other hand, 4 years can often go by pretty quickly. We're already coming up on year 4 of AEW. But yeah, no, hopefully he just gets what he's looking for, and it's like, it's bizarre to me that there's 2 major companies now that have not really been able to figure out Malachi Black, although I guess the case could be made WWE had him figured out in NXT, because I thought that they had a really good thing going with him there, and then he gets to main roster, Vince is in charge and puts him in a room.
Well, I even thought like the idea of what he was doing in AEW with House of Black was interesting. They just were never booked like the threats they should have been.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
They took too many losses. I know injuries and other stuff got in the way of some of their stories, namely the story with Death Triangle, but it's I mean, apart from just beating Fuego all the time, they never really got any significant victories, it didn't feel like. Yeah. After Malachi beat Cody, Like, they never really capitalized on that momentum where he came and destroyed Cody. Just absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah. Dave Meltzer tweeted this out apparently just recently. This stuff, the backstage stuff, will be addressed on the air tonight. Not sure how in-depth or not. Has to be because it involves titles. You would think that, sorry, we're going back to the previous story now. But yeah, Malachi Black, wish you well.
Yes, the absolute best for Malachi. Seems like a really creative, talented dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a lot of options in front of him. I mean, he's been doing those prestige shows fairly regularly. I'm sure he can make a bunch of money off that. I'm sure he probably made a ton of money off WWE in the first place. Probably a bunch off AEW as well. So so yeah. Getting back to the idea that this backstage stuff is going to be, I mean, you have to, because they're going to be vacating, at the very least, they're going to be vacating the AEW title. I mean, if Punk is going to be suspended, which you would have to think he would.
At the minimum,
At the minimum, they got to vacate that title, or at the very least, let's just do what seems to be obvious. Just put it on Mox. And have MJF take it off of him. Like, the Mox will be a three-time champ,
a two-time
interim champ. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, I mean, if it seems like if Punk's going to be suspended for, let's say, 30 days, but part of the punishment is we're going to take the title off you. then at that point I wouldn't think it'd be an interim.
No, I think
situation.
this is,
no.
no. He's getting stripped,
Yeah.
As soon as he called Hangman, as soon as he referred to Colt Cabana's mom as having sharing an account with him, at that point it's like, oh, you're not champion anymore. Tony Khan should have just been like, bring the title towards himself.
There's countless times during that media scrum I'm like, oh my gosh, why isn't Tony Khan doing anything? Something.
It's just something. This was such an awkward situation.
I understand that. I understand in an awkward situation, especially a situation that awkward, that it's easy to kind of freeze. I get that.
Well, here's the thing. That ain't going to happen again. Everything's a learning lesson. I mean, who would have thought you'd be sitting there in a scrum probably just praying for this fucking thing to be done with, and he just keeps on unloading. And it's like, how do you, without causing the biggest scene in the world, because Punk would cause us. Khan tried several times to very sort of calmly shut it down when he said, that's on me. I should have taken a no comment. I should have given you what you were looking for. And then Punk was like, no. Look, man, we're all learning here, Tony. Anyways, let's talk about that piece of shit Hangman Page. Okay. Yeah. I agree. He's the boss. He's like a billionaire. He should probably have said, hey, motherfucker, shut up.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I'm not gonna criticize the guy for that, because that shit's awkward as hell.
It is awkward. It is super awkward. Let's talk about someone taking maybe at least a short-term departure from WWE. So news broke yesterday that Pat McAfee would be joining ESPN's College Game Day crew full-time this season. I think next season, too. And then Pat addressed how this new opportunity would affect his commentator duties on SmackDown during the latest episode of his show, because, SmackDown, Friday nights, College Game Day.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday mornings. What Pat had to say. These transcripts come to you from Fightful. Pat said, quote, last week we got a deal done that allows me to join College Game Day full-time this season, also next season. With that, because it is Saturday morning, to make that decision and really be a firm yes for me, I want to talk to people from WWE. Obviously, I hold my role as SmackDown commentator as high as anything else that I do, because not only is it a dream for me since I was a little kid, but there are other little kids out there that are hopefully getting their imagination, getting their goals and dreams created like I was when I was a kid watching WWE. I think WWE does that for kids, and every time I get an opportunity to get on a microphone there, I wanted to honor that. He continues, before I could agree to do College Game Day, which is an honor of a lifetime, I had to talk to WWE first and see what their thoughts were. I was thinking about maybe doing both. How do I go about doing that? I did it one time whenever SmackDown was in Buffalo and the plane was stuck in the Middle East. I had College Game Day the next morning at Memphis. The original thought for me was I could do SmackDown and Game Day. I can do it. The folks at WWE, who I have nothing but love, respect, and appreciation for, I'm talking old regime, new regime, whoever you think is in charge, I have nothing but great feelings towards. I reach out to them and chit-chat with them. They're the ones who said, if you're going to do Game Day, which is a great opportunity, congratulations. You cannot be traveling overnight for the entirety of the season. It is not good for your health, your family, anything. Whenever the time is right, we'll have you back in our family. SmackDown, me commentating, will be on hold for a bit while I do College Game Day. I'm still very much in the WWE family.
We have actual audio of that conversation. It went like this.
If you're going to do Game Day, which is a great opportunity, you can't be traveling overnight for the entirety of the season. It's not good for your health. You need to get your sleep, Pat. Here's one thing I've learned. Sleep is essential. I get a solid 8 hours every single night, Pat.
You know what? You got to put respect in WWE for saying, hey, your health comes first. Go do that shit. That's awesome. And SmackDown will be just fine. Yep. I will miss Pat McAfee so much. He brought so much more to SmackDown. I hope he comes back after the season.
So depending on, I don't know if College Game Day covers how extensive they do bowls.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The bowl season.
Yeah, beginning of the year, I think he'd be
entirely possible, because the college football season is over before Christmas, and they have the Christmas break, and then after that it's bowls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hopefully at the very latest, it'll be like January of 2023.
I mean at the latest it'd be mid-January, because usually national championship game is like the second.
Second Monday of the
year, I think.
Yeah.
The first or second Monday. I don't remember exactly which one.
Oh man. Anyways, you want to talk some NXT? I watched the Hulu version of it. We have an option here. We could either talk NXT. You guys can get my Hulu take on it, or I did put up a questions thread. We could do a questions thread instead and cover NXT on Friday. What would you prefer to do, Larson?
Well, I mean, we both watched NXT. I know it's the sooner we talk about it, maybe the more interest there would be in it.
Okay, that's cool. Let's dive.
So we'll do it here, and then for weeks onward, we'll cover it, Friday or whatever.
Tyler Bate.
Tyler Bate. He's not our champion.
He's not our champion.
If this episode's any indication, it seems like him, Gallus, maybe Mako.
Seemingly Mako. She got a match next week too, I think.
Yeah, are sticking around for a little bit.
That's awesome. That's great.
Sticking around.
Yeah.
I thought by and large the wrestling for the entire show was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, like Roxanne versus Mako was outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah,
they gave a ton of time.
That was really
a ton of time.
Yeah.
We got a story for Pretty Deadly where they're resentful that people think they didn't win that match on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like my favorite bit was I like that we're gonna still get Mello and Ricochet probably.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite bit was the Damon Kemp stuff.
Yeah.
They did a video package with him where he was like, "Man, fuck Roderick Strong, fuck Julius, fuck Brutus." Fuck Ivy. Fuck all the Diamond Mine. I like that. I thought that was pretty good.
He pretty much
about
said
the Diamond Mine now.
He said, I saw that it was going to implode, and I just pushed it along.
He said, I was stirring that pot. I like that, man. I thought it's a great turn for him. I thought he did really good in this promo. I know he's the brother of Gable Steveson. But man, I want to see this dude succeed. I really like this guy, and I think that I don't know what the expectations were for him in the beginning, but certainly he's exceeded maybe whatever mild expectations they had of him. I really like this stuff, man. I thought he was doing good work. It's like the one thing I love Mello and Trick. I do. And I like the UK guys being there. That's great. But it just seems, I don't know, even less sort of consequential than it even did before. I don't know what it is. It just I don't know. It's sort of just thrown. It feels kind of just thrown together, I guess. Because now, I mean, especially this is like a Fallout episode. Not like the old Fallout episodes where it was literally just dark matches that they would air during the thing.
And then like 45 minutes of recaps.
Yeah. But like, Tyler Bate, and then they do the same thing with Braun Breaker every time.
They do. Yeah, he has an opponent. He beats them. There's respect there. They team together the episode after. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always happens. That's what we had here. Tyler Bate and Braun Breaker in the main event against Gallus Boys. Hey, Tyler Bate, you bastard. You didn't win your match, did you? And he's like, neither did you. And they're like, oh. And then they attack him, and then Braun Breaker makes a save. I'm just fucking doing this. I'm just diving into it.
Perfect segue to get into it. Go ahead.
Well, we had a Tyler Bate promo. We thanked everybody. He said, yeah.
No, you have to recap the whole thing. You got it. It's like he was out there. He was talking.
No, I know. I was about to say, yeah, he talked about not being able to beat Braun Breaker. Gallus interrupts. Hey, Rent Boy, you should be apologizing. Everyone back home. You let the whole UK down. Locker room down. And you should be standing there. And then he says, I should be standing there next to the unified champ, but I'm not. What happened to that big strong boy? And then Bates like, you guys lost too. And then Joe was like, oh, very funny. And he says, but look, there's three of us and one of you. They attack. Security hits the ring. Gallus fights him off. Yeah, Braun Breaker, I'll help you. You're my new best friend. I used to be Ciampa's best friend, but he left too. I need a new best friend, so I got to beat you and then make you my best friend. I ain't got a dog. And then, they beat up on Gallus. And then he says, hey, you want to fight with you? And then they do that later on.
They do. And then we get a Pretty Deadly promo. They're there with their two sets of tag titles. They say, we were NXT tag champs. We came to NXT and won the tag titles our first match. Now we're the unified tag champions. Does that mean we're the greatest tag team in NXT history? Yes, boy.
Yes, boy.
So then Lash Legend steps in, says, performance on Sunday, incredible. But people are talking.
Ooh.
And they're saying that Damon Kemp is the only reason you won.
Ooh.
And then Pretty Deadly's like, no, that's not why. And they just complain about it. And that's the through line for them through this whole episode.
Yeah.
That chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. Yes, boy. After that, Mako Sadamar is chatting with Roxanne Perez. Steps away, gets a quick interview. She says, I'm bummed out about Sunday, but I'm proud to represent NXT UK. And then Cora steps in. She's like, hey, man, let's fight. And Mako's like, I can't because I've got a more respectable a more respectable person to fight against, Roxanne. And Cora's pissed off about that.
And then we had Gigi, Dolan, and JC Jane taking on Dewdrop and Nikki ASH. So last time we saw Dewdrop and Nikki ASH, it seemed like they were like broken up or on the verge of it, with Nikki taking off her mask and throwing it at Dewdrop. Well, they seem to be on the same page here for the most part. And in fact, they got the win with Dewdrop hitting Gigi with a Michinoku driver and then running crossbody to get the win. So I don't know if it's a situation where they're back together to avenge their loss they took in the tag title tournament, the Toxic Attraction.
Yeah.
Or what exactly? That was the match, right? Gigi and JC beat. No, they didn't. They're on different shows.
Wait, what are you talking about?
So I thought for a second that Gigi and JC beat Dewdrop and Nikki.
They beat Sonya. It was Sonya.
Yeah, that's right, because Dewdrop and Nikki are on SmackDown. Or on Raw, I mean.
They're on Raw, yeah. Yeah, they beat, I think they beat Sonya and Natalia.
I know. I had it in my head that was why Toxic Attraction attacked Dewdrop and Nikki on Worlds Collide. But no, that wasn't it.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of motivation there, I don't think.
No, that makes it kind of confusing.
Well, I guess they want the tag titles, and they're like, oh, we're going to have a tougher time with people on main roster than people here in NXT.
Maybe. I don't know.
That was a cool match, though.
It was good. It was a good match.
After that, we had... Okay, so sadly, this bums me out. The Hulu version did not include this. So Apollo Crews
all right.
was talking about having his precog powers taken away. What's this?
Yeah, so he's got his journal. He's walking out of some sort of pier or something. There's like a gazebo at the end of pier.
Can I please type all this into the AI artist thing that I'm doing?
Sure, go ahead. So yeah, he's walking out on like a pier or dock or something. There's water around for sure.
Yeah.
Some sort of covering at the end of it. And he's talking about how Grayson Waller tried to take his vision. He can understand how the first poke might have been unintentional, but the second one, no, purposeful. And he says, all I can do is storm ahead, but I look in that direction, as in the direction of his visions. It's blurry, and they show blurred images of something.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he says, Waller may have blurred my vision, but unlike Waller, I'm not afraid of the unknown.
Oh, wow.
And so he turns around, and like one of his eyes is all red.
It's all computer show me Genesis.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Oh my God, this stuff is too much, dude.
Oh my goodness,
this stuff is just too much. Hold on, I'm gonna text this to you. This is great. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter too.
There we go. After that, we had JD Mcdonough versus Wesley. Another really solid match. I don't know why they changed JD's name from Jordan Devlin to JD Mcdonough, but they didn't change the name of his finisher. It's still Devlin's side. So I guess JD stands for Jordan Devlin McDonough.
Yeah, I think that could be the case. You know, maybe they just think, well, instead of it being a play off his name, they're just making it now literally like the devil inside. There's a lot more peaceful surroundings. Okay, well here it wasn't quite as industrial as all this. Okay, well there's two more. Let's see here. There's two. Oh, here's another one too. All right. Anyways, what happened next? JD got the win. Devil Inside. Oh yeah, with the Devil Inside. Yeah, I just wonder if what who had the song Devil Inside? That was In Excess. In Excess, what I thought. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Maybe they're just thinking, it's a cool name, and that's what I always thought though. The JD stood for Jordan Devlin McDonough. Yeah, that's what seems to be the case. Yeah, seems to be the case. After that, we had Tony D and Stax backstage. Pretty Deadly, Yes Boy walks in. Tony congratulates them on their win. And Stax is like, "Hey, you guys want an espresso?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And Tony asks Pretty Deadly, "How much did it cost to get Kemp to screw over the Diamond Mine?" And says, "Hey, what? No, we did this on our own. This is our win. We did this." So yeah, what did you think of the AI, my AR art? So the second one, the third one overall, you sent me the second of the group of two. This is an AI thing too. I've seen some, it all is. I've seen some really wonderful, like detailed AI art, and I'm like, how do they get that?
I know.
I'm typing in the description of what I'm supposed to be typing in.
See, this last one you sent was more kind of the setting. There's trees and such.
I'll be sure to upload those to our Twitter at Real Going.
There you go. So after that, we had Roxanne Perez versus Mako Sadamar. This match was tons of fun. This was really good.
Yeah, this was really
good.
Roxanne's a hell of a wrestler. Of course, Mako's a legend.
Yeah. So Roxanne hits a Rana that gets her a 2 count. Mako's looking for a kick. Perez blocks that. She hits a forearm, and then Mako responds with a head kick, follows with Scorpio Rise, and to get the win. So Mako takes her leave. Corey hits the ring to attack Roxanne with a kendo stick. Mako runs back to the ring, chases off Corey.
That is correct. After that, Tyler Bate, and Braun Breaker, are in the locker room. They're both doing their thing. And then Bate comes over. He's like, "Hey, Braun, thanks for your help earlier." And Braun says, "Hey, man, I know NXT UK just ended. Europe's around the corner, but you are NXT, man. Let's go kick some ass. Yeah."
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got this Damon Kemp video package. As Steve mentioned earlier, it was pretty awesome. He says, "On Sunday, the whole world was talking about me." He says, "How much thanks did I get for Diamond Mine's successes?" He mentions that the Creeds are tag champs. And he goes, "None. Roddy didn't even put me in the singles rings."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "I was a Pan American Games champ. Winning is in my DNA. I even beat Brutus in college." He says, "I saw the beef between Roddy and Julius coming. I could have stopped it, but I decided to take Diamond Mine down from within, and that sound of the steel chair hitting Julius was the sound of the end of Diamond Mine."
Ooh. I wonder if that's actually just going to make them come together stronger.
That seems to be the case, because one of the first things the Creeds talked about later on was, we're going to get back at Damon for what he did to Roddy.
We're going to get it. We're going to do it. After that, the grizzled young veterans are at their booth trying to give away those happy buttons. Kiana and her assistant show up, and they offer her a button. She's like, "Oh, I love this." And then she walks away, and then she's like, "I don't do free sponsorships," and she chucks the button. And then Ariana Grace is going over her schedule, and Kiana books Ariana for training to help her with the Zoe Stark Nikita Lyons problem.
Yeah.
Are you upset still about grizzled young veterans? Is that what you're?
I'm upset about that. I'm not really into this Kiana James character.
No, neither am I. It seems like really hokey. It's like something that doesn't even belong in 1994.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad.
It is. After that, we had a really fun match between Ricochet and Trick Williams. Mello was on.
These are the kind of. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You go ahead.
Mello was on commentary. Ricochet gets the win. He ducks Trick's finish, that spin kick. Hits a recoil, shooting star press to get the win. Go ahead, Steve.
I need to stop interrupting you. I
interrupt you all the time. So
I was gonna say this Trick Williams. This is what he needs to be in the ring. Nothing beats just being in the ring in front of people, having a match with somebody who's really fucking good. Mm-hmm. He's just gonna get even better. I thought Carmelo was really, really funny on commentary here, man.
Yep. After that, Tony and Stax, they're backstage drinking some espresso.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Grimes walks past him, and Tony says, "Hey, you've had time to think about my offer. What do you say?" And then Grimes says, "You guys just don't stop with the pressure. You're just like Joe Gacy. But I'll give you your answer. No, not today, not tomorrow, not any day, because I don't need anybody. I definitely don't need you." And Tony says, "The last 2 guys who said no aren't here anymore. I ran them off." And Grimes says, "I'm not like those other guys." And Stack says, "Yeah, because other people respected them."
Ew.
That upsets Grimes. Throws coffee at Stax. Brawl breaks out. Tony puts Grimes through a table with an uranagi.
If Santos does show up on Main, which I'm pretty sure he will, that is Tony D going to be the guy to send people to main roster? And if so, is Cameron Grimes finally going to be on main roster?
I hope so, if for one reason, if any other. To get him away from Joe Gacy.
Yeah, good point. I hope that we get back the old timey Cameron Grimes. I thought that he was very entertaining. I think he'd be really good on main.
What they should really do is have him be TNA superstar Trevor Lee.
I agree with that too. Yeah, the cult of Lee. Yeah, all that stuff was great. Just have him be a prick. I'm tired of this. He dresses nice. He's like subdued. He's like just normal guy. He's not interesting in any way, shape, or form like that.
No, he's not.
And sort of the wilder Cameron Grimes, Trevor Lee, whatever you want to call him, was so much fun. And it's like, you have him. He's there. What if this is him? What if this is like, the actual Trevor Lee wanting to be like, hey, man, I don't want to be that crazy character. I just want to be.
He's like, I'm tired of putting on an act. I just want to be myself.
I just want to be myself. He's like, I have an idea for a character. It's just me, and people are trying to recruit me into their groups. And I'm like, no. And Heartbreak's like,
and they say, why? And I say, to the moon.
Yeah. And Heartbreak's like, what a great idea.
It's like, sure, you can do that.
Sure, you can do that. One less thing on my fucking plate that I have to deal with trying to figure out characters and stuff.
After that, we had a video package for a debuting superstar, Saul Ruka?
Saul Ruka.
It was just it was a lot of B-roll of surfing.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It wasn't a voiceover, no promo stuff, just surfing.
Okay, that's cool. I'm down with a surfer. So apparently her bio on WWE reads Calix Hampton. Her real name is, what an interesting name, Calix Hampton. Calyx. What a great name. 22-year-old athlete from the University of Oregon. She competed on the school's acrobatics and tumbling team, earned NCATA individual event national championship honors. Apparently she's done some stuff. Oh, there's some matches here on Level Up. So if the enforcer, yeah, we should ask Enforcer about that. But that's cool. She's a surfer. The one is going to be like a Point Break situation. It's going to invade like Toxic Attraction using a dead president's mask.
That would be interesting. Who would be the FBI agent Johnny Utah?
Well, that would be her. That would be
gotcha.
her. The question is, who would be Gary Busey? Who's like an older, like veteran in the women's division, even somebody from Maine that can come back. I feel like Natalia would make for a killer Gary Busey.
Yeah, that could be something.
Yeah, Natalia comes back. She's like, hey, kid. What are you doing, kid? Got to do these things by the book.
Yeah.
Toxic attraction has to go down, man. First, let's go do some waves. Or whatever they call it. Do some waves.
Do some waves, yeah.
First, let's go do some waves, Brody.
After that, we had a Creed Brothers interview. Brutus is talking about how he wants to break Kemp's face for what he did to Roddy, for what he did to them, for what he said about Ivy. He says Kemp talks tough when he's in a studio. Next time I see him, it's on site.
Yeah, on site is my favorite.
I know. Mackenzie tells them they have a tag title match next week. How are they going to clear their heads? And Julia says, we're not going to. We're going to use what Kemp did as fuel and add that to the fire. And Brutus says next week we're going to correct what happened on Sunday. And Kemp is a dead man. Pretty Deadly walks in and says, we won on Sunday. People don't believe it, but we're going to prove it. And we're going to let the NXT universe pick the stipulation for our match.
Yeah, it's like Cyber
Tuesday.
Sunday. Yeah, Taboo Tuesday. Yeah.
And then Julia says to him, I'm going to take out all my rage on your bitch asses. They did fan vote for Taboo Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I think it was Taboo Tuesday and Cyber Sunday. It was both.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool. Then we had Nathan Frazier versus Axiom.
Hold on
Larson.
a second.
Yes, please.
When they said this was best out of 3, I thought it was one match, best out of 3, like a British rules match. I know that's best. I know that's best of 5,
right.
unless there's a tie to go to the 6th and final round. But I thought this would be like a 3-round match. No, it's the best 2 out of 3 matches.
Oh yeah, okay. So they're gonna do the next one next week.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
not
cool.
not really sticking with the idea of Heritage Cup rules.
No, they're not. Which is, I guess, a bummer. I don't know. Axiom showed up, and his entrance is so terrible. It is the worst entrance. Like he walks up to people. And like the fact that it's like all stuttery, it makes me.
It's all stroby. I know.
It's so done. It's so fucking ugly, and that bothered me. Nathan Frazier has some cool pants though. It's a bit like
his entrance is great.
Switchbladey. Yeah, his entrance is awesome. He's great. These are 2 phenomenal wrestlers. I get the feeling that Axiom would be much better without that fucking mask though. You got to figure that's gonna fucking do something.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he got the win here though.
Yeah, he did. He got the win here with a forearm. And he gets his finish here for the win.
Yep. Yeah. Then we're backstage. There's security and Hank Walker,
Seth Rogen. Yeah.
NWO
Seth Rogen.
They're standing in front of Gallus's locker room, and he's getting everybody ready for Gallus to make their entrance. And then Javier Bernal steps in. He starts talking crap.
Dude, this guy just talks shit.
Yeah, he does. And Hank says, "You got to get out of here." Javier says, I'm a big-time superstar, and you're just a security guard. And Hank says, well, I'll whoop your ass any night of the week. And then Gallus exits their locker room, and Hank's like, all right, it's go time.
All right, let's go, guys. Let's go smoke some weed. I realize who Javier Bardal reminds me of. He looks like Kyle O'Reilly and Kona Reeves were mashed together.
All right, I don't know about
see that. Really? You don't see that?
I can't picture it in my mind. I'd have to go and review.
I should do some AI art. Well, I do some AI. I'd be like, what does it look like? What does it look like if Seth Rogen has a fight with the love baby of?
If you type into this AI thing, a person who looks like Kyle O'Reilly, and who's the other person you said?
Kona Reeves.
And Kona Reeves. What would it spit out?
Person who is equal parts Kyle O'Reilly and Kona Reeves. All right, a photorealistic image of a person who is equal parts Kyle O'Reilly and Kona Reeves.
All right.
So I'm going to tell it to generate. It's thinking it's doing its thing right now. It's AI. Fine. It takes time. The neurons are firing.
After that, we had a Quincy Elliott video package. He's making his debut next week.
I want to see what this guy can do in the ring. Because, we'll see about that.
Then we get a Mello and Trick interview. Trick says Ricochet beat him, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. He says, I'm still taller, stronger. Even after a loss, I still look better.
This is highly disappointing.
Yeah.
None of these people look anything like anybody.
All right. Sorry to hear that, Steve. Mello says they're done talking about Ricochet. Ricochet doesn't have what I have, and that's North American title. Next question. And Mackenzie asks him about next week, and he says, I beat everybody there is to beat. I'm the A-champ. I'm the face of NXT. Then Mackenzie says, you don't even know who your opponent is next week, and it's up to the NXT universe to decide. And Mello just goes, nope. WWE Universe doesn't decide who I defend the title against. I make that decision.
He's the A-champ.
And then Mackenzie says, well, you can vote.
And they were pissed off about that.
Yeah. And so they leave. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And then we had our main event, Joe and Mark Coffey of Gallus. Versus Tyler Bate.
Tyler Bates,
and Braun Breaker.
Tyler Bates teaming with Braun Breaker.
Braun Breakers are Tyler's teaming with the champion. So team Tyler Bate and Braun Breaker get the win here. Braun hits a spear on Joe Coffey. Bate follows with a comebacker lariat and a Tyler driver to get the win. And then JD Mcdonough hits the ring, knees Bate into Braun, so Braun tumbles out of the ring. He hits Bate with Devlin inside. Braun gets back in the ring, and then JD escapes up through the crowd.
Correct. And the other is NXT's Kona Reeves. I'm creating a two-headed man, one with Kyle O'Reilly and one with Kona Reeves.
I think you're going to be equally as disappointed, probably.
I think you're probably right. You want to answer some questions? I left a question thread here on the
You can answer a couple questions, sure.
Channel, because I'm sure we got a bunch of them because there's hot heat these days in the world of the old wrestling. We got 38 questions. I'm not going to answer them all, but we'll check out some of these. Let's see here. That's a great question. Cameron Lamuriel says, with Malachi Black no longer in AEW, what would you guys do with the House of Black? Brody King needs to lead that shit to new heights. That guy should be a star. He should be booked like a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah. Agreed.
Let's see here. Also, this is good. Stephen James says, my favorite wrestler growing up was Marty Jannetty. I'm curious if you guys ever had a favorite wrestler you knew wasn't going to go above the mid-card. I know the answer is yes about this.
I don't know about a favorite wrestler, but there's a lot of wrestlers I really liked that I knew were never going to be world champion.
Yeah.
But I don't know about a favorite.
So does Shane Douglas count if you consider his time in WWE? I never liked the Dean Douglas character. So
but
I guess
he was a champion in ECW. He was champion forever.
I know. But I'm saying in WWF, he was Intercontinental Champion for like a second.
Are you forgetting about his time in WCW after he left the ECW?
Was he champion there?
Not world champion, no. He's a mid-carder.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was a low mid-carder, though. I think he had real life beef with Flair. Yeah, his time there was pretty forgettable, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty forgettable. Shane Douglas is my answer. I know that he was the ECW world champion, but
I mean, it was probably Raven in WCW. There was with Hogan and them at the top of the card. He was never going to be a main eventer, but he was upper mid carder.
Okay, let's do this then, because I think you and I were trying. Like, is there anybody at the level of Marty Jannetty? Because Raven and Shane Douglas were certainly above Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
Was anybody Marty Jannetty and worse that was like really popular with us? That doesn't count either. Dan Severn, that dude won hella titles.
Yeah, he came to WWE worth 15 belts.
Yeah.
The only people I can think of is maybe we like them, but somewhat ironically like them too,
Like Steve Blackman was, he had his moments, but he wasn't ever going to amount to anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever consider him your favorite wrestler either.
No, not at all. No.
That's what I mean. I can't think of a name that's
like
I could genuinely say that was my favorite wrestler, but also was just
like my
squarely
favorite
in
wrestler
the mid-card.
runs wrestling right now in total. That's Triple H. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of low faction guys. Like Hilton loved Jim Neidhart. And I know he's an accomplished wrestler. He's like a tag team guy, but on his own.
Yeah. He was never going to be a world champ, no.
Right, but Hilton loved him. I think he was his actual favorite wrestler.
Lazy Paladin says, should you let drama within the wrestling industry affect your enjoyment of the show? For example, are you going to drop AEW because Punk, Hangman, the Elite, and such seem to have beef once a week? I mean, we won't and can't because it's part of our job to watch and review this stuff.
Yeah.
If I were just a wrestling fan and didn't have a wrestling podcast,
it depends.
It would depend on the drama and if it took a toll on the product I saw on television.
Yeah, which is exactly what WCW 2000 was. You know, it was all that shit. It's like, man, I don't want to watch fucking, Vince Russo have some awkward contract negotiations with Hulk Hogan using Jeff Jarrett. I would have been like, this is stupid. I think I was like that. I think I was like, oh, that's stupid. So yeah, but it all depends on the drama. I remember when the Edge Matt Hardy Lita stuff was going down, I was really interested. Holy shit, they brought back Matt Hardy. That's a volatile situation. That's kind of cool because they're just it's over like a woman, It's like, oh, well, it's a relationship thing. Not that big of a deal. And then you find out years later that they had totally made up by then anyways. So they were cool to do it. And it's like, okay, that's cool. You take sort of a silly situation, a love triangle, and then you turn that into a real life thing to get a wrestler paid. That's cool. I can dig that.
Yeah.
But this stuff is really far gone. But the bottom line is, AEW's roster is so deep and has so much great talent on it that if Punk and the Elite both disappeared, I'd still fucking watch AEW even if I was just a fan and I didn't do this for a living because Danielson's there. He's my favorite wrestler. Mox is there. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers. Regal, the entire Blackpool Combat Club, Jericho's there.
There's still a lot of talented people. A lot of talented people in AEW that still make it an enjoyable show. AC asked, let's say you were in the chair of Tony Khan. You were to go back in time during the rumors of CM Punk returning to AEW. Would be willing to bring him into the company? I guess the question phrased another way would be, if you knew then what you know now, would you still do it? If you still would do it, what would you change about your approach?
Well, that's the big thing. What would you change about your approach?
Number one thing would be you sit everybody down. You get Phil, your Tony Khan, you get your EVPs, and you get Colt Cabana in a room. And you say, we understand the issues between Colt and Punk. We don't want this to spill over into anything else. So if anybody has any issues they want to air right now, let's get it out of the way now. So we can proceed a working relationship without having this linger over it.
Dude, I think that's good. I wonder if maybe having more attention to detail, paying more attention to detail to the stories that you're going to have them go out there and cut promos. If there are lines that they don't want crossed, then that needs to be out there. You sit down, CM Punk and Hangman Page in a room, get the read on their relationship, and say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is going to be week 1. This is going to be week 2. I mean, Punk has talked about in WWE going and sitting down, writing 14 weeks of television, and you're going to tell me that stuff was focused when Hangman came out and was just like, I'm going to destroy you, CM Punk. It was clear they had no story in mind for that title switch. Tony Khan evidently just left it up to them to go do whatever they wanted to do, and there was seemingly no communication on what was going to happen there.
Yep.
And so you need regular communication between everybody, and I think that's the key. They say that's the key to a good marriage, and I think that's a good key to business partners. It's a good key to any number of things.
Good key to any strong relationship.
Yeah.
Melcier just tweeted a minute ago, Punk injury believed to be from the tope is serious. Rumors from Sunday, but he hadn't confirmed them, but it's been confirmed to me no matter what happens discipline-wise, the title situation has to be changed and addressed tonight.
Wow. Okay. So so literally in the match where he got the title back, he injured himself to the point that he'd have to vacate it anyways, if Meltzer is to be believed. CM Punk's not our champion. Mox will be our champion. Or MJF will be our champion.
Or MJF, yeah.
Yeah. My goodness graciousness. Well, that sets up a good cliffhanger for tonight. Hopefully, you all join us for tonight's Dynamite Watch Along at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. Our recap to follow immediately afterwards. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.